It's 9 p.m. and you finally sit down to do nothing. No emails, no tasks, no one needing you. And then within minutes, something feels off. You're restless, you're agitated, you almost feel exposed. You're not bored, you feel like you're doing something wrong. Hey, I'm Kristen, and I work with high-functioning, perfectionistic people who are confident in what they can do, but not fully confident in who they are. And one pattern I see a lot is this. You say you want a break. You fantasize about checking out for a few hours. But when you actually try, you can't settle. You start doom scrolling or replaying a conversation you had with your colleague yesterday. Today, I want to explain why doing nothing can feel so uncomfortable, what hidden rule is actually driving that reaction, and then how to start rewiring it so you can feel steady even when you're not producing. So if you relate to this, here's what's really happening. Your reaction isn't about inactivity. It's actually about what inactivity represents. At some point in your life, your brain formed a rule, like I'm valuable when I'm useful, or I'm responsible for everything. You didn't sit down and choose that rule. You likely weren't even aware of it. Maybe you didn't even become aware of it until I just said it right now. This rule developed slowly. Maybe you were praised for being responsible. Maybe you were the capable one. Maybe you got attention when you achieved. Maybe being needed gave you a sense of purpose. Over time, usefulness became tied to value. And when value is connected to emotional stability, then stopping feels risky. Not because doing nothing is inherently bad, but because it feels like you're losing value. And losing value feels extremely destabilizing. So let's make this real. Let's say it's a Sunday. You tell yourself, I'm doing nothing today. You sit on the couch and start watching Ted Lasso. 10 minutes later, you check your phone. You answer something small. Then you start planning the week. Then you look for something productive to handle. There's a subtle tightness in your chest, this sort of quiet urgency. And you think, why does doing nothing feel so wrong? That urgency isn't random. It's your mind trying to restore value. Because when you stop doing, you stop proving. And if your identity has been built around being capable, helpful, and productive, then doing nothing feels like removing the structure that holds your sense of self together. So let's go a little deeper with this. Staying busy gives you more than results. It gives you a feeling of control, predictability, a clear role, a stable sense of who you are, a way to avoid sitting with uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. When you're producing, you know where you stand, right? When you stop, that structure drops. And if you've never practiced feeling solid without performing, then that stillness feels really shaky. That shakiness gets interpreted as danger in your nervous system, so you move. Not because you love the hustle, but because movement restores that feeling of safety. So this is the core tension. You trust your skills, you trust your competence, you know how to execute. But when there is nothing to execute, you don't feel as grounded because your sense of self has been reinforced through output. So when output pauses, your identity feels less defined. And that's why this isn't solved by better time management. And it's not solved by telling yourself to calm down. This is about emotional security. Can you feel solid when you're not proving something? That's the work. We aren't going to force your system into long stretches of stillness. We're going to gently show it that nothing collapses when you stop performing. So here are 2 small practices to try this week. The first is a 5-minute stillness practice. So set a timer for 5 minutes, sit somewhere, no optimizing it, no learning, no planning, no improving yourself, just sit. When discomfort rises, don't immediately distract yourself. Instead, notice the thought underneath it. Is it, I'm wasting time, I should be doing something, I'm falling behind? Just name it. You're not arguing with it, you're just observing it. And then let the timer finish. 5 minutes of existing without proving. This builds emotional security because your system learns through experience, not logic, that nothing fell apart and that you're still here. And number 2 is to skip one small proof behavior. So pay attention to the tiny ways you prove your usefulness every day. Maybe you send that extra email, or take responsibility for something that isn't yours, or offer help before anyone even asks, or over-prepare so no one can question you. Pick one small proof behavior, and once this week, don't do it. And watch what happens inside. Does your anxiety spike? Do you feel exposed? Do you worry about how you'll be perceived? That reaction shows you how much safety you've tied to usefulness. Then say this: I'm allowed to be valuable without proving it right now. You don't have to fully believe it yet. You're introducing an alternative possibility. So here's why calming techniques alone don't fix this. Breathing exercises can lower the intensity, absolutely. But if doing nothing still means I lose value, the discomfort will come back. Because the core issue isn't just that activation, it's the interpretation. You're not trying to calm yourself into doing nothing. You're changing what doing nothing represents. From I'm falling behind to this doesn't define my value. As adults, our to-do lists are never ending. They will always be there. And when we get close to the end, we'll add 10 more things. There will always be more to do. That's why taking breaks is productive in and of itself. It's not sustainable to constantly be in motion. Get off the hamster wheel. Stillness doesn't reduce your value. It reveals the rules you were trained to live by. So if doing nothing feels threatening, it doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means your brain linked usefulness to safety. And that link likely helped you at some point in your life, but you're not in that environment anymore. So now the question becomes, can you exist without earning your right to exist? That's emotional security, and it's built in small moments like these. You're already competent. You already know how to perform. The next layer of growth is learning that you don't need to disappear when you stop. You're not less valuable. You're not less worthy. You're not less solid. Stillness feels threatening because you are trained to believe value must be earned. So you're teaching yourself something different, that your value doesn't increase or decrease based on output, and that you can remain grounded even when you're doing nothing. If this resonated, comment value. I want to see how many of you recognize this pattern in yourselves. And if you want deeper tools like this each week, join my newsletter below. That's where I break down the operating systems driving high functioning anxiety and perfectionism and how to change them.